like to call this regular meeting of the Romulus Board of Education, March 27, 2006 to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Buckley?
Here.
Mr. Kuderik?
Present.
Mrs. Lanasi?
Present.
Mrs. White?
Present.
Mrs. Roscoe?
Here.
Mr. Minkevich is present, and President Frayer is absent.
Okay, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have two changes to the agenda. I'd like to add item F1 to reschedule the April 10th meeting to April 3. And I'd like to delete item number 7, the executive session for tonight.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I would like to make a motion that we accept the changes to the agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor? Oh, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
Well, there's several.
Madam Chair, do you want each one separate,
There's 5.
We have
or do we
five.
do one at a time?
I guess as long as we read the dates, we can approve them all together.
Okay.
We have them all together in one motion here.
Okay, I motion that we approve our minutes, regular meeting, Board of Education for March 13th, March 15th, March 21st, 22nd, and 23rd,
Support.
2006.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have reported superintendent, Joel.
Personnel actions, Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Members of the board, I have several personnel actions for you this evening. Our first is a 4-year information, employment of Ms. Jessica Ramsey, Cafeteria 1, utility person, Romulus Senior High School. Our next personnel action, a motion is needed by the board to approve the extended leave of absence of personnel, Ms. Lisa Handyside. She's wanting to extend her child care leave. She's a mathematics teacher at Romulus Middle School, and this would be effective for 2006-2007 school year.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the extended leave as presented by Mr. Clark.
Support.
Do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You can go first, because you might say the same thing I'm going to say. Go ahead.
I just have a question, Madam Chair. Is this person currently on leave right now?
Yeah, she's currently on maternity leave.
Okay, for this whole school year?
06-07, right?
So this, okay.
She's out right now.
She's out right now.
She's out right now, and this will be
She's asking for an
to our
extension.
next
She
school
wants
year.
an additional.
Is it?
Another year.
Okay, my question would be, so who's filling her position? Do we have a sub in that position? What's
Because Ms. Handyside was out for the whole year, we had to find a full-time contractual replacement for her.
okay? So contractual replacement. So they're not a district employee, or
No, they are a district employee.
Okay, that's what I wanted to be clear
Yes.
on. Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Now I do. If she's off next year and we have that same math teacher back, then what happens the next year? One of those gets laid off? Or?
Well, if there's not a position, if that's not a vacancy, someone will get bumped or laid off, right?
Okay.
Well, with the new high school requirements, there's going to be potentially need for more math teachers and science teachers, so this may actually be a good thing, kind of hiding in disguise.
Well, I guess I just want to comment because that's way past the normal, like 12 weeks you get on FMLA, so she's just out without pay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Not on that one, but I'll get you later.
All right, and that motion was made by Ken, second by Betty, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion carried.
And for the last personnel action, move that the board accept the retirement of personnel as submitted. We have retiring Ms. Sally Mann, assistant cook at Romulus Middle School, and Ms. Karen McFaul, head cook at Romulus Middle School.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion that we accept the retirement of personnel as presented.
Support.
Any questions? All in
Does-
favor? Oh, go ahead. I'm
One,
sorry, Ms.
one
White.
question. Both of these positions will be filled? Okay. Both of them, right. All right. Just checking.
Okay, no problem.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Sherry, bills for payment, please.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. I'm recommending the approval of the bills submitted for payment for the period March 15th, 2006 through March 23rd, 2006 in the amount of $300,675.85.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the bills as presented.
Support.
Go ahead, Buckley.
Okay, do we have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Dolan, we have our presentation this evening.
We do, Mr. Carr. Members of the board, we have with us tonight Mr. Musham and Mr. Wilkerson from the Community High, and Mr. Wilkerson from Mr. Musham. Welcome.
Test, yeah, ready to go. Thank you, Mr. Dolan. It's always a pleasure to be here. It's always especially nice to be here when I have a product that's a well-known product, I think, and I think our school's doing a good job on a number of angles right now. Before I start, I want to introduce someone that's real close to me, my assistant, Mr. Grantham, Reggie Grantham right here. He's my dean of students. As we started in the school year, my staff before school, we examined some of the things that are going to be our goals this year. And last year was the first year at our graduation that there was a couple of students that I wasn't sure of their first and last name. And so over the summer we talked, and different staff members we talked, and one of our goals this year was to personalize our school environment. And I think this is needed everywhere. I think we have students and walking through schools, but no one knows them. And so one of our goals early on was that teachers and students were going to know each other by name. And I think it's really made a difference. When you can attach a name to a face and talk personally with someone, I think it makes a big difference in your school milieu. Our teachers will be able to identify an individual student's strengths and also life challenges. I think we've been affected because we go beyond just the classroom. We find out about students' lives in general, what's going on in their lives, what makes them tick. Sometimes they have challenges during the day that we can draw from some information from their background. One of my strengths has been for being here for so long. I'm now teaching students I get their grandchildren. It makes a big difference in the way you handle your business. So that's been one of our goals this year. The school will encourage students to take advantage of the opportunities to participate in extracurricular activities. For me, it's a given. I think it's helped so much for some students to get involved in school activities, whether it be sports, clubs, service learning projects. I think I'm speaking to the choir with you guys. You guys know the importance of it. It makes a big difference in kids' self-worth, and they're proud of doing some things. And that carries over in the classroom. And last one of our last little item under this goal was the teachers will collaborate regularly with other teachers and with individual students to ensure academic and personal achievements for our students. By this I meant my teachers right now, every day during the prep period, they're tutoring students. It's just not we sometimes say it's free period. It's not a free period. You're prepping for your class. But also my teachers, every one of them, without complaints, folks. I've not heard one person complain this year. When we started this, we made a commitment. Every hour you can see teachers during the prep period. When students get their work done in another class and maybe there's 20 minutes left, they can come down to a teacher and get tutoring in a class that they need help in. That's really been an advantage. Our second goal is to create a climate of success in our school. Okay? We help students to quiet the voice inside that says, you can't accomplish that. We try to practice positive self-talk all the time. Our school community will command respect rather than demand respect. We want to model behavior respect. We talk to each other about the way we talk to students, okay? We try to teach them like we're adults and talk to them like adults. And many times, or most times, that behavior, you can see it, it makes you feel good when kids model or say some of the same things that you say to someone, to the peers. Teach responsibility rather than obedience. Most of you know this. In my building, in our cafeteria, we don't have lunch mothers. Students pick up their own things after lunch. They get done. Do they leave sloppy some days? Certainly they do. No different than our own children. But I think that we're getting into a society where no one takes responsibility for anything. And so, rather than be obedient, I want them to be responsible, and everything takes care of itself that way. Create a school climate of positive talk and successful possibilities. My teachers, everyone in our building is constantly talking about possible available career opportunities that maybe they don't even know about. Applying to college. We talk a lot, everyone's not going to go to college, but believe me, we talk a lot about training afterwards. I'm going to cover some things a little later on to show you how it's been successful. Talk about making the honor roll. Okay, you got a 2.5 this time. Let's raise that up to 2.8, 2.9, And believe me, I really believe that works. Next. One of the things that I always wanted to do, I want to break the connection between powerlessness and dysfunctional behavior. Our school's changed over the last 6 years because now we're a destination. Kids want to come there. Before when we first started out, it was a place where you're sent to. Okay, it was like getting sent to Siberia. Now I have students that come there because they want to come there. They like, they like our curriculum. They like a late start. They like our block scheduling. Some of the things that the interventions we've made. But many of our students do not believe they can succeed at anything. When they come into our building, some of them are pitiful. If they don't think they're good at anything, they have no power. All right, we try to put the power back in their hands. We want them to believe, and you will achieve. If you believe you can, it's so neat to see some kids that have never, ever in their life made the honor roll, and now they finally get it done. They're not all successful, folks. We have some unique things we do, but they usually come back and are successful, and that's what we're in this business for. Several thousand students each day drop out of the school, with many more at risk. It's astonishing what we're into right now. I mean, I've talked to many principals. Kids are dropping out of school for many, many reasons, and it's something that you folks are going to be dealing with for the years to come. Skill reteaching and development. Mr. Joel and I have talked a number of times. Last year we had 17 kids with over 24 ACT, 3 over 30 at my building. Many of them came from Romulus High School. So those kids are learning the material. There's been other family situations that have happened where they've lost credit somehow. They missed too many days. They haven't passed their tests. So one of the things that we try to do is we try to find out where they need reteaching and try to go through that whole process and reteach, and then make sure that they have skill development, because later on, when they get employed, we want them to look back on their education through our school system as a positive experience. Many employers are complaining that there's an ever-increasing lack of trained people to fill vacant positions. And that's one of the things that we all have to work towards. Goal number 4 this year was to increase our MEP testing participation. Many of our students at the high school level, it was like, one more test I got to take. I don't want to take this. It was always a struggle. Okay, then you end up getting, well, if you don't take it, there's going to be a penalty. You don't want to get into a testing situation like that. This year we doubled our testing. We went from 27 to 56. Now, in alternative education, you have to test all 17-year-olds. That's the state rule. So I think we had 74 17-year-olds, and we had 56 take it this year, so we were making progress there. Our middle school, we've increased from 28 to 38. And then our results for our middle school are back. We're slowly getting kids out of the bottom 2 quartiles, okay, and getting up. This year, I think we had 2 kids in the top and about 7 in the second one. So we are raising the bottom and raising our bottom line up. But again, it's constant work. These kids my middle school kids have some behavior issues we have to deal with before we can even get to academics. In our staff meetings, we talk about the attitudes that kids can walk in through the door. There's things that our kids walk through the door sometimes with that we just cannot fathom. In the last month, we've had a situation. We had a young man that graduated in January, shot and killed over $30 worth of marijuana that his cousin had. Those are the things that we deal with every day, just not in my school, the whole district. We're dealing, kids coming in and their attitude towards learning when they come in the building is something we all have to be conscious of. I know the bottom line is test results and things like that, but we've also got to work on the product that we're bringing into the door and make sure that they're ready to learn every day. Next. One of our unique programs that Mr. Musham really took a strong interest in has guided this was our partnership with Wayne County Community College. This is our 4th year of the partnership, and some of you guys know this, some of you don't. Through this partnership, we introduced about 80 students to career choices they may otherwise not have had the opportunity to explore in a traditional classroom. We don't have vocational classes in our building, so it's giving our kids a chance to have some vocational training away from our building. We provide transportation to Wayne County Community College each school day, where they're enrolled in the college-level vocational certification classes. And we have medical first response, we have an advanced medical response, we have a web design, which is new this year, and we also have an internet applications class. And these were 2 classes that were added this year. It's really, really been a good opportunity for our kids to come through, go in there and experience a college-level class. When we first started off, we had it in our building. And this is our 2nd year or 3rd year? 2nd year off campus? 3rd year off campus. And then at the end of the year of our 1st year of having it, we said, let's put them in a traditional, a college environment. Let's see how they survive. They raise the challenge. Wherever you put the bar, I really believe students will reach that. So we have really good instructors in these classes, and our kids, the next slide, our kids are able to articulate they can earn 10 possible college credits while they're going to high school, which is really a neat deal for them. And that's if they go to Wayne County Community College. They got to go there to earn those 10 credits. But it's been fun for me to go there to check on our kids that are over there. See a lot of our graduates over the last 2 or 3 years, so they're completing their degrees and getting a good start. Sometimes they don't go immediately afterwards, but they go the next year or 2. Next. Another one of our points of pride, I think, is our Ford Pass program. We started this program, it stands for Partnership for Advanced Studies. And a little background on this, when we first started out, there was some debate by the Ford Pass people. We're in conjunction with the University of Michigan Dearborn, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Hinga. He's our representative. At first, they weren't sure that we could handle it at an alternative school. Well, Mr. Mushman and myself sat and talked to these people and said, hey, we've got bright kids here. We have kids that come to school every single day. They do every assignment. So they get good grades. Some get average grades, but they have good employability skills. We have some really bright kids that I felt that maybe, Mr. Mushman and I felt that maybe we weren't quite testing them enough. And so we instituted this program 2nd semester last year. And we've already been chosen as a national model for implementation. It's so fun for us to have different schools come in, and this is an alternative school? Yeah. Well, we're now a national model. Last summer we had 3 teachers were given fellowships to go to the national conference in San Antonio, Texas. And this year already, in summer 2006, Rebecca Peck, who's my academic advisor, I kind of skipped her over to the top. She's my academic advisor. She serves as our coordinator, our partnership liaison to the University of Michigan and Ford Motor Company. Mr. Dolan was over last spring at U of M Dearborn when we received an award. This program we received last year was the Michigan Alternative Education Organization program component, the best new program component for alternative education in the state. I think another year, I think we're going to apply for the MASB award with this, but we have to do some fine tuning on it. We have to have at least 2 years. It has to be in existence for 2 years. But it's really been a great addition to our curriculum. I think it demands status. I think it gives kids something to strive for. I think they feel special, which is real important. And so it's been a real success to have a lot of schools come in and see the next one. Some of the schools that came to visit us this year so far have been in West Bloomfield High School, Garden City Alternative, Downriver Alternative. This is kind of neat. The Educational Development Center, EDC, out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, where Harvard is, was in January, I think it was, into January. They came in and observed our Ford Pass teachers' classes. And they're going to come back, I think, at the end of May. They want to do a video. They want to do a teaching video at our building and use it as a national model. So that was really exciting. We've got to go through, we talked about them, all the permission slips, all that stuff we've got to have, and how much revenue we're going to generate for the school district. And, right? At least $1.20. So, but it was neat. These people came in and they were very impressed with our students. And again, it's like any proud parent. You see someone coming down the hall and you hear one of your students say, "Hello there, how are you? Can I help you?" That's exactly, students shine when you want them to, and they know how to do that. When Westland Schools came in, And that's not counting, that's our visitations. The last 3 weeks, we've had somebody come in from Downriver Alternative. We're kind of a model for them. They like the things we're doing over there. They want to duplicate some of the things we're doing. They want to resurrect the Downriver Alternative School. And it's neat to share. We don't want to share too much, but it's kind of neat to share with people. And that's not counting the phone calls that Bill and myself get all the time from different programs or different schools. How do you do this? What's your philosophy of that? I met a man last week from Phoenix High School, Battle Creek. He's called me 2 or 3 times about the things we have, our block schedule, and our Forward Pass program. Next. One of the things that Mrs. Peck and I have talked about over the years, and we've kind of formalized it this year. Sometimes our students, and just not community high students, this is, you know, I deal with Romulus High School kids myself sometimes from being a counselor there. Kids come back and they don't know where to go. Let's say they decide they want to go to college or something like that, or go to a trade school or whatever. They don't know where to start. Can I go back, you know? Everyone's retiring now. Who do you go to? And so it's been real important that Rebecca started making some contacts with some of our kids that have graduated. We send out some form letters or little stickers for, do you need help? Okay? We've got quite a response on that. And we help those students that are our alumni with college applications, financial aid forms, and many times letter of reference. You know, they need a letter of reference for a job, or we hear about a job opening or something like that. That's been a real good outreach, and I'll tell you what, it's really nice to have students come in. We just hung all of our graduation pictures in our office, and man, we've really got a bang for our buck on that. Students come in, they see their name, they see their stuff on the wall again. They've talked to other students. Hey, hang in there, man, get it done. This is going to be worthwhile. And you know, we could talk all day. When a former student comes in and said, you know, if you listen, you're going to be successful. That's all you need. Next. Last May, or I was in here, I think last April, and the next month we went together with Southgate, and we were given an MESB award, Educational Excellence Award. Kind of a bad picture. We did a health fair with Southgate School, so it's a combined health fair. We did a needs assessment. They put on this really neat health fair, and we were awarded for it. You know, we were all peacocking all of the school districts pretty good last year, and we all won all these awards, and it was nice to be part of that. Next. Now for things athletically. This year, we were the state runner-up. One of the things that we've done that's been pretty neat is there's an organization called the MA, the Michigan Alternative Athletic Association. There's about 95 to 100 teams involved statewide in this, and they offer athletics for the students. And this has grown. The 6 years I've been over this, really grown. And we've hosted the football championship the last 2 years at our facilities on a Friday all day. It's up, you know, we get out there about 10 o'clock at night. We have 3 different classes of based on school size. 2 years ago, Charles, we won it. 2 years ago, we won it. This year we were runner-up, but we've been in the top 5 finishes all 4 years. Our next one, I thought it was a basketball. That one of our goals from last year was to start playing the MHSAA. Okay, one of my goals, I thought, and Mr. Carr and I talked about this, it would be really neat if we became a Class D school. Legitimize everything, become a Class D school, play a MHSAA just like Romulus High School does, schedule. So Charles scheduled a game this year with Whitmore Lake, and I tell you, it was neat. Our kids were great. Our fans were great. We went out there. I don't think that Whitmore Lake knew what to expect, to be truthful, but I tell you what, our kids shined. They were great on and off the court. They were good sports. Mr. Tenbrook was very good. There were some bad calls that I'm not sure I could have sat down like that, but we got a little home cooking down the stretch, and we got beat. They were a ranked Class C team, Whitmore Lake was, but it was really a good first step for us. But we've also talked about the pros and cons of becoming a MHSAA school. One of the strengths of our program is we have students that maybe didn't pass their classes the previous semester. Okay, as long as you're doing well in the grades currently, if you're eligible to play with the MA, with the Michigan Alternative Athletic Association. Sometimes students have used their 8 semesters of eligibility. Well, it still gives them a chance to come back for a 9th semester or 10th semester and play, rather than drop out of school. For many folks, it keeps them in school. It's probably not right. It's for many of our students, it's what keeps them in school. It keeps them plugging towards a diploma, and we've put a number of kids that have got athletic scholarships, for playing in this league. Next. I'm going to talk about this guy real quick. I want to put him on the spot. Charles Tenbrook is my coach over here. His strength, first of all. You know, he's been there the whole time with me. He's an outstanding teacher. You know, and I really believe outstanding teachers make great coaches. He's one of my forward pass teachers. He teaches the design energy portion of it, which are focusing on reverse engineering. But more importantly, he's been involved in just about every state championship we've had over there. In football, they were state champs in 2004, runner-up in 2005 and 6. Boys basketball, they were runner-up in 2004. He just came off a back-to-back state championships. I'm going to get to that in a second. Girls basketball, he took our girls basketball team, and they were runner-up in state last year. And also, the chess. He's a heck of a chess player, and he's got our kids playing chess. We got a good shot at, I think, winning the state championship this year in chess. We got some really good chess players. But he's an outstanding teacher, an outstanding coach, and he's grown. It's been neat for me to see these young coaches, not only here in the high school, everywhere, grow. You know, I can see myself back there and doing stupid stuff early on. I joked. I said, "Man, you're gonna have more technical." 2 years ago, he was getting the technical every time, and now he can smooth somebody. He can smooth the referee better than I can. How many technicals you get this year? None. So he came a long way. So you'll be seeing something. He got a $1,000 bonus. It was a little contract. What was it? 10,000. No, again, you know, not being condescending. Charles did a great job with these kids this year. He has high standards, and you know, he had 7 o'clock in the morning practice. Kids showed up. He had great. You know, there's some kids didn't get a medal this year. Didn't win the state championship because they didn't adhere to his rules. So you got to have good behavior and good grades. Next. Oh, that's not a pretty washed out picture. But what I wanted to do is tonight, a combination. I want to introduce I'll have Charles introduce. And I was reminded by a student that we forgot to honor them last year when they won the state championship. But this year they won the 2006 state championship, Class A. Exciting game. Is that it, or we just go blank here? Go next one. Oh, there you go. Here's the members of stand up. Here, I can introduce them here. Stand up. We got a few kids that are working. Zach Rice, please stand up. Zach, Anthony Nash, George Gillespie. Where'd George go? Oh, right there, George. Devon Baskerville, and Anthony Mays, and Emmett Jackson. These are the members here. They ended up with a record of 15 wins and 2 losses. I know Mr. Cruz is over there. It was really exciting. What's nice about it is everyone comes. We host. Oh, I didn't mention that. We host the final. This is our second year hosting the state championships, and this year we increased it to 4 classes. And it was neat. I'm going to talk about the Class D game because the Class D Saline team in the semifinals. Saline has 18 kids in their hall of tournament school. And to see these kids out there playing basketball, you thought they were in an NBA championship at Madison Square Garden. When that, you know, our school come from way up north and, you know, near the Upper Peninsula, comes into our gym. They thought they were in Chrysler Arena seeing something like that. And so that's the value for me with athletics and with kids with changing behavior. Those kids would have jumped through the wall, you know, to be in that gym again. And that's what's really neat about this. Charles, want to say anything? Stand up.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Come on here. You got to be in this little square.
I can do this.
The thing I was most proud of for the whole season is no matter how far we ever got down in games, our boys always fought back. Even in the championship game, we were down 4 points in the last minute and hit a game tying 3 with 10 seconds to go to pull it out. Real proud. We started the season the game we were down 5 points with 10 seconds to go and won it. And these guys always stepped up to the challenge. Like Mr. Wilkerson said, the 7 a.m. practices, everybody was there. There was no complaints. Everything I'm asking to do, they did. The sprints, the push-ups, the star jumpers, all these, they laugh because they know how bad it hurt. What else we do? The mountain climbers, all those things. That a lot of them were actually crying when we did them. I didn't want to embarrass them. But that's what I was real proud of. And I think even this year, in the years I've seen in the league, the team that we beat in the finals from Detroit, I think their team and ours were the best 2 teams the league has ever seen. And I think you probably had 8 or 9 kids out there that could play college basketball. It was a fantastic game. And I'm just really proud of these guys. And Anthony Nash and Zach Rice, 2 years in a row. They were on the team, only returning guys from last year, and they went out with 2 championships. Not many kids can say that. So trust me, they make me look real good. If you see them play, they make me look good. We have a couple guys here that'll be back next year, so we're hoping to do this again for a 3-peat, but it's tough to do.
Very good.
So we'll see how it goes. So.
I forgot somebody here I need to mention because she was a big part of our season. She was our scorekeeper every game, kept score for the state championship game. She's an outstanding player herself. This year, the girls' season got canceled throughout the whole state because there weren't enough girls in other schools. But she was probably one. Brandy McLeod right here. Stand up, Brandy. Brandy's an outstanding student, an outstanding basketball player, and she was a great representative for our school. Next.
Madam Chair, may I ask Mr. Wilkinson, could we get a schedule of your athletic events over at Community High next year?
Oh, sure.
That would be great.
Yep.
We would love to support you.
That's
Just
great.
need to know when they are.
You know what? No, I tell you what. Our games this year, we were probably averaging about 100, probably 80 to 100 people. Sometimes I wish some of them wouldn't come from other teams, but you take on a whole different approach than your principal. But sometimes you want someone to stay home. I mean, not our kids. Our kids are great, okay? But some of the visiting people come, and sometimes you just had to get enough of that. All right.
Thank you.
This is the first year that we're starting something. 6 years ago, we took a group to Louisville, an all-star team. The MOD did. It was really kind of cool. We took all these kids down to Louisville and got beat 2 games in a row, our all-star team. And out of that team, we had a couple kids, 6'8". The state did. We're talking now. This year, they're resurrecting again. They're going to do something on, and Charles has been a big part of this. He and the coach from Flint Beecher wanted to get our kids more recognition. So we're going to play on June 1st a game at the Palace before the Detroit Shock game. We're going to have 2 of our players on the from Community High. They don't know who that is, but I'm real proud that Charles has been chosen as the head coach for the East team. It's not just because he was helping organize it, because he's probably one of the best coaches in the alternative school league. And again, I'm going back to see how these guys have grown. 5 years ago, he's yelling and screaming at every call, and I said, man, you're going to have a heart attack, And he's settled down, he has intensity, he has focus and purpose, which is really, really important. And I'm not going to put you on. Zach, how many games did you have to sit on a couple games this year? 3. Charles kept, Zach has grown. Zach is going to be a college basketball player someday, but there's lessons you learn along the way. And Charles runs that ship. That's his team. And he knows what it stands for. We got beat a couple games, and our kids were very good at, after the losses. I mentioned we got beat up in Whitmore Lake, and these kids are used to winning, and so sometimes you don't know what's going to happen when they lose, and they were fine. So I'm real proud of them. Besides the athletic wins and losses, I'm real proud of is the character you guys had this year. You were committed, and it shows when you're committed, the results happen. You win things and you do well. Next. Future goals. I'll wrap this up. Where are we heading after this year, okay? Well, this is my last year. It's been a fun ride for me. We're continuing on some things here. We've started this called NARN certification. It's a national certification. It stands for National At-Risk Educational Network. And right now, it's beginning stages. There's probably less than 20 schools nationwide that have the certification. It's going to come. The next 5 years, most schools will have this. Rebecca and Reggie have got us on the forefront right now. They're both working on this right now to keep us going on this, and that's going to be something in the future. Some of the things we want to do is continue networking within the Ford Pass framework, with curriculum support, with speakers that they bring in. We've got Mr. Mushroom just had a contact with Waste Management. They're going to have some speakers come in from Waste Management now that we're going to get connected with our Ford Pass program and take a visit to the big dump site out there. So. Some of the things that my concerns about as we make this big transition, and I heard Mr. Carr mention it before, new graduation requirements. We're all looking at that. All the principals in the state, alternative organization, they're looking at this. How does it affect us? Mr. Clark and I have talked about certification for No Child Left Behind. We all want that, but we also don't want to wipe out kids in the process. And some concerns I have about fine arts. We don't have a fine arts program. Okay, are we going to be able to hire somebody or create a whole nother program, or I've yelled for years I wanted a marching band. Maybe this might be the time of marching band at Community High. So Foreign language, I know that's been debated in the state level, and so with the Algebra 2 requirement. But those are things that whoever takes over is going to need your support, folks, because we don't want to wipe kids out. You know, we're here to get kids back, inclusion, get them, you know, an education, and help them to move on. And the last thing about, I mentioned this just before the meeting started, about the growth in Michigan of alternative schools. 7 years ago when I started, I think we were in the top, either the largest or second largest in the state at 275 to 300 kids. Right now we're what, 10th or 11th, Charles? About 10th or 11th right now. We're about 10th or 11th school, or size school right now. It's growing everywhere. It's a need. There's a need there. We can't just get rid of these kids. For so many years we had them on the streets. We're getting kids back involved. We're getting them through our program, adult education or types of programs, and they need your support. They need your support with legislators to talk it up, because if not, we have a lot. And again, folks, if I had a building, I could have 500 kids. There's no question. The need is there. We cap it at 300 because we'd have to have 35 kids in the classroom. And right now, our kids are staying. We got a couple classrooms with 30, 31 kids, and you probably need to have about 20 kids. But it's a need. I want to thank you right now for all your support, and support the next person that's going to be there. Thank you. Any questions?
I just have a comment. When I first came on the board 10 years ago, the graduation class was a little bitty class that sat up on the stage at Romulus High School. And it grew, and it grew, and it grew, and now we can't even fit on that stage. We have to go to the field house, which I think is so tremendous. It's such a compliment, that you have done so well with this.
Well, we've hired well.
Very proud of them.
We have a great staff that has the same philosophy, that we don't give up on kids.
Yeah.
We keep giving them 4 and 5 chances and 10 chances until they finally get it right, and they will if we hold on them long enough. Like their own children, I think that we discipline our own children and say, you got to do this, and then they get back and they do a little bit better, and they fall apart again. And eventually, if you hold on them long enough, they're gonna be successful.
Before we let Elle go, Elle received this award from GrowthWorks in February 2nd, 2006, and GrowthWorks is a social service agency working with kids in Olive Wayne County, and it was a prestigious award for Elle. It reads, "For efforts aimed at improving the lives of young people." So congratulations, Elle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Al, those trophies
Oh,
from,
sorry. Shoot.
could you share those with us?
Uh-huh.
Come on, Zach. Come on.
Is it over to Elle? Don't break it.
This is for last year. That's 2005. And this is for this year. Real quick, if you haven't been in our building in a while, it's kind of neat. We've got banners up and down our one hallway. And Charles and the football coach and I have talked about having, we're going to get runner-up banners too, all on one sheet of paper. It's really neat for the kids to walk down there, and I tell you, it's more important to have a kid. We won the state champion in 2000. And the kids come back and say, "Oh yeah, there's our banner." And just, you're developing an identity for our school. Okay, we've got North Central accreditation. We've got MESB now going up on the side. Before that was just Mount Pleasant School. Now we're making it into something. So again, I'm proud of these guys. It's been a good run. I'm proud of as Betty just said, we've got. Our graduates went from about 25 to 30, up to, I think Rebecca said today we're on target for about 105 right now.
Isn't it something?
I hope we can get all those kids through.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's just, set the bar high and keep on going. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Take them home.
Mr. Cruz will probably take some pictures out in the hall.
Yeah.
Oh, you already did it.
Oh,
Good.
did you?
Thank you. Well, we have parents back here too. These people have been great. Oh, wait. No, come here. Just walk up. Come on up here. This young man's a great student. Cannot tell time, I guess. No, whatever. He's an outstanding young man.
Al, can you get the mic? Get the mic. So they can hear you at home about this nice young
Why
man.
don't you talk about it? Talk about what it meant to you that you'd win a state championship.
Put him on the spot. Put him on the spot.
Next time he'll show up on time, won't he? Well, it meant a lot to winning because it's like something I'm remember for the rest of my life. Like something I came over and something I did in my life. So it was like just another step in life for me to continue. And just let me know that I can do anything I want.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Outstanding athlete at our school. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Very nice.
We have two items, a field trip for Merriman Elementary Safety Squad on Saturday, May 20th. Recommend the approval. I need your approval since this is an out-of-state trip.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the field trip to Cedar Point for Saturday, May 20th for the Merriman Elementary School Safety Squad, Media Crew, and Student Council.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And Romulus Elementary School, same place, same day.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the field trip for the Romulus Elementary Safety Squad, Media Crew, and Student Council.
Support.
Do we have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, Sherry, cafeteria equipment, we brought back part of the cafeteria equipment, and I believe, hopefully we'll bring the rest of it next week.
Yes, in your packet, you have an equipment quote comparison, which lists several items. They are part of the Phase 1 that we submitted to the state when the state contacted us in regards to a large fund balance we had in our food service that we had to spend, approximately about $255,000. Currently, Phase 1 is about $120,000. It does not include shipping, disposal of the current items, installation, and any type of fees that we're going to incur, like architectural things where we need professionals to come in and make sure that the items are, the plumbing's correct and mechanical is correct. And I also invited Glenn Nua here tonight from Chartwell's. He can probably best describe the items if you're interested in knowing exactly what they are and why we're doing the things that we're doing. In all of the cases, we have chosen the lowest bidder. That's always a good thing. And I think, Glenn, you support the fact that these companies are reputable and we've done business with them, or you've done business with them in the past. And again, next week, we plan on bringing the rest of the program to the table for you to review. Do you have any questions about the items in particular?
I don't think, I have a question,
Go
Madam
ahead,
Chair.
Ms.
I think the question was before, and I think you were here and you were absent, is when will you know what the rest of the costs
I know.
associated with this before we go approving stuff? I mean, do you have a range?
Well, the reason that there's only a portion of it here tonight is because I do want to make sure that we stay within the realm of what we're expected to spend. I don't want to go over as much as I can. I want to stay within the $255,000. Now, there are things that, to reorganize the high school and the middle school cafeteria, some of the items that Glenn and I have discussed in regard, I kind of came in late in the project, so I'm kind of learning what they wanted to do as far as Phase 2 went. And the reason, like I said, the reason that these are here is because we don't want to go over, and we want to make sure we stay in. That's why I'm going to be contacting the architect this week and seeing what type of fees they have so that we do stay within the dollar amounts. The reorganization of the middle and high school cafeteria, those are some things that we tossed around last week to make sure that these are things that we want to do to make things more efficient. Glenn, if you want to add anything to that note.
Well, there's still some things that we want to work through.
It's not on.
Power switch. Still some things that we want to work through, some details on as far as organization of the high school and middle school and that equipment that we talked about last meeting. The first phase is what you have there in your packet, and we're committed to that. We think that's going to be a good plan for the district and the kids. And then we kind of backed off it a little bit over the past few days with some questions that Sherry had about how much money was in the fund balance, and she's working with the state right now to make sure that that's actually the money that's there, so.
If your concern is that we're going to spend more than what we're supposed to spend, that's why we're handling it this way.
Okay.
If you have a different question that I'm not addressing, then
No, that is still, I guess, my concern. Usually when we get stuff, we need to kind of know what the whole picture is before we vote on something and pass a motion. Then it's after the fact, and then we're blindsided and then incur
what I'm
more
suggesting
debt.
is to approve Phase 1, because that is our priority right now. That is what is needed. The other items will, of course, increase efficiency and things of that nature, but they're not absolutely necessary. So
And we
that's
can-
why I
we'll-
wanted to present it this way.
And we'll present that as it comes up and we commit to what we want to do there.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Copeland.
And Chair, I think you answered my question. I was going to ask, do you have a priority list? So this is how you're prioritizing these items? So this will come to us first because this is absolutely necessary, correct?
Absolutely.
And then, as we spend money, the other items will come forth.
Yes.
One other question, the $255,000, can you clarify that we have to spend it for this so that people at home will know
Sure.
that we can't use it for other things
Sure.
other than what we're spending it for?
What the state does is they take our annual costs, and they did this for 2004, 2005, and we had a fund balance that exceeded their limitations for what you could have in fund balance. They basically say you can have 3 times your monthly expenditures in a fund balance for things of unforeseen nature, fixing freezers or making large repairs to equipment. So they are requiring that we spend $255,000 of the fund balance to ensure that we're not holding a large fund balance in that account. And these things, as I just mentioned, are necessary for the food service department.
And if we don't spend the money, we send it back to the state of Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't want to do that.
And how long do we have before that happens?
June 30th, 2006.
Madam Chair, I have one more question.
Okay.
Because these were listed in order of priority, and I think the thing that we got before said where these items are going.
Okay.
What's the range, or are they all going in one place or
It-
one school, or what are we dealing
The
with?
second column, and I'm hoping it's the same thing that I have in front of me, but it has a quantity on there. If you see the 6,
Yeah.
that is for our 6 elementary schools, both the first line and the second line.
Okay.
And then the hot well, or the 4-well hot buffet, there's 7, Glenn. Those are 6,
6 elementaries in Mount Pleasant.
correct. And then the reach-in freezer, there's 4 of those.
And not all schools needed a reach-in freezer or a reach-in cooler. Some of them have
Which
upgraded
schools are
equipment.
going to get these?
I don't have that list here with me, but I've got a list.
And the reach-in cooler, there's 5 of those items. I think the majority of these are in relation to the elementary level cafeteria.
Correct.
Yes.
That's all that equipment is elementary
Okay.
level, with the exception of the walk-in freezer.
Okay.
The reach-in cooler, there's 5, the 6th one is not being purchased because Romulus Elementary already is
Right.
set in that area. And the walk-in freezer goes at the high school.
At the high school. And the architect was out last week with the consultant, and they made some measurements and made some recommendations on moving it and actually making it a little bit bigger in the same room. And the consultant went and got more bids on it, and that's what I gave Sherry a copy of here. We got this Friday afternoon after the board packets went out. And it's very similar in prices to a slightly smaller freezer, so it looked like it was a good situation.
Glenn is referring to the architectural fees that we're not sure what those are going to cost us. Like I said, I'm going to be working with them this week to actually put something together to say this is what it will be. Because they have visited the schools, they do know what work needs to be done, so they should be able to give us a concrete, quote.
I have a question, Glenn. Is there a reason why the one company with the walk-in freezer has not been out to the location? They just have not scheduled a time, got back with you?
That got sent by, Chartwell's has a company that we work with that is consultants as well, and they sent out specs to these companies
Okay.
to come out and measure it. Now, what you've got on that bid list that you got in your board packet has the original bid quotes for that walk-in freezer.
Okay.
The one that Sherry just passed around is the new ones that came through the architect and the consultant that was with them, that has the newer specs on it. And if I recall correctly, they're pretty close on costs.
Yes.
Well, are we then saying that we're going to purchase the one from Great Lakes West for
Yes.
18,354?
Yes.
I would go with the
Yes,
recommendation
that's what the
there as well.
recommendation is.
Okay, so that changes the
So that changes,
$120,000.
okay.
So it's 120 plus the 18,354, right?
It's actually the
No, it's
difference,
less.
yeah, it's the difference between
It'd be
the
less, yeah.
21,460 and the
Okay.
18,354.
$3,000
Gotcha.
deduct.
Okay, gotcha.
That's better.
All right.
Any other questions?
Yes, Madam Chair.
So no.
So you're saying by next week, we should have the final bid of all construction costs, consultants, plumbing, hardware, maintenance, and what about the truck?
The truck, our initial,
I mean, or do we, I think somebody said we need, what was it, a 24-foot truck?
Yeah, I think that's what
Do we
the
really
bus
need one that
garage.
big?
I don't think it was 24.
You know, I left that to
I think
to
it's
Don
looking at
Morris.
20, so we're
I
looking
think
more or less
18 to
like,
20, I
we're
think.
looking more or less like the cube van or a van type front
like a
panel truck.
UPS truck, a smaller version, but
Okay.
that type.
Something like this.
Our initial, we wanted to go onto the state's bid because we thought that would be the fastest, easiest, and probably the least expensive. Unfortunately, they do not have a vehicle that fits those type of specs. Now, I've worked with the, one of the mechanics to try to get something in the realm of that, and it just doesn't seem like they have it. So we are receiving a quote from a local dealer, and we will be, there's two other dealers I've contacted that are going to get me quotes. So my anticipation, or my expectation, is to have those, that information for you next Monday.
There will be some urgency on that one, though, because we need to get this done by June 30th. And
Yeah.
so haste in terms of delivery is very important in this issue.
So we have to have the material delivered on site by June 30, or do we have to have it paid for by June 30? On all these freezers, if we go ahead and vote on this next week, I mean, we gotta have this equipment on site, or does it have to be paid for and ordered?
Be purchased.
Paid
It has to be paid for, because it has to show on the books that we've spent it as
That
of
we've
June
used it.
30th.
Okay.
Okay, so then, if
You
there's
pay
no
for it
other
and hold the check in
questions.
effect, Tom, is probably what we do. If something is not going to get here by June 30th, we'll date a check. And if we
Right.
have to hold
Hold
it a
it.
week or two, we'll
We'll
hold it.
hold it.
So do we want to make a motion for what we have here in front of us tonight?
That's just
or
what I
do we
was-
want to
that was
hold
my
it
That's,
question.
till
that's
next
what I,
week till
that's what I'm
till it's
recommending
complete?
as finance director,
Okay.
is to approve this, and then I will come back to you with any additional costs if there are going to be any, which there are. That way we'll have an additional concrete number that, so you're comfortable that we're gonna stay within the $255,000.
That would be helpful if, I mean, I understand the
Absolutely.
motion tonight, but information needs to really be clear and laid out and not.
Had it quoted to us, and it should not be a problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Madam Chair, I would like to make the motion to approve the cafeteria equipment as presented tonight.
Support.
Okay, I just would like to note with the correction
Right.
that
Yeah,
we're
with
going
the
with Great Lakes
correction.
West. Do we have any other questions? No? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Need a motion to reschedule the April 10th board meeting to April 3, at 6:30 PM at this site.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support.
do we have any questions? Just for clarification, we're changing the meeting due to the fact that April 10th will be in Chicago at the National
To
Convention.
receive the Magna Award, National Award from the National Association of School Boards. Very, very prestigious award.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. What do we have next? Next is our communications and expressions from the public. I haven't been given anything. I don't see anybody wanting to jump up here and talk, so this will go to the next item, which is items of interest from Superintendent Joel.
So I'd like to say that the Magna Awards brochure, each of you have it in your packet. It's just absolutely fantastic that we've been able to get this award. It's due to the work of a a lot of folks in our community. Tom Dolan for years has worked very hard on our initiatives.
Did you get one?
It goes back 10 years, I believe, now that we've been involved with the initiatives. And it isn't just something that happened and quit after a year or two. It's 10 years later, and this is still a huge part of the philosophy of the development of the programs within the Romulus schools. And we're very, very proud of this, and it's so good that a number of you were able to make it to receive this just absolutely great award. This is the best award. We've had a bunch of awards, but this is the best one of them all. This is just absolutely great. I'm so proud to be superintendent of a district.
It's really nice.
Being a curriculum leader in this situation, I just can't be happier. And that's all I have for tonight. The rest of the items are self-explanatory.
Okay, next is questions and concern from the board members. Betty?
Okay, I just have like a little announcement I want to make. Of course, this is reading month, and April 1st, at the library, I hope all you folks are paying attention to what I'm saying. Bring all your preschoolers out. The community is coming out. My colleagues, some of my colleagues are going to be there. Administrators are going to be there. The firemen are going to be there for the youngsters to climb in, out, and around the fire trucks. And of course, we'll be reading. So bring your kids April 1st, Romulus Library from 10 to 12. And it's a chance to get a library card for your young ones, too. Thank you.
Thanks, Betty. Anybody else?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Tom?
Wick Elementary's got their multicultural fair, and unfortunately, I know all the board members here are going to be doing superintendent interviews, so we're going to have to decline that invitation.
Yeah, isn't that a shame?
Would like to have been there, but we're going to be here interviewing for the new superintendent on that night.
Anybody else?
Madam Chairman, I have a question. Have we done any checking into the lighting at the high school auditorium? I understand there's a play coming up shortly and that there may have been some concerns with the lighting.
I am not aware of the situation. I can check on that.
Okay, we probably should.
You said at the high school?
Yes, the high school auditorium. There's a play coming up, and it sounds like there's some lighting issues or something that's possibly not going to work properly. The other thing I was going to mention is we were at the Governor's Education Summit today in Lansing, and one of the sessions I went to was dealing with the new math curriculum that the state is pushing. Students need Algebra 2 and so on. And the woman doing the presentation was a professor of math from Michigan State. And as she was doing her presentation, she put a slide up that listed all the committee members. And
No teacher.
as I looked at the committee, there was a former, gal that I graduated from Romulus High School with, who was also a math professor at Michigan State, was on the committee. And
Who's that guy?
it was Sharon Sink.
Karen Sink?
Yeah, S-E-N-K. She graduated when I did, a couple years ago. But she is a math professor at Michigan State, and she's on this committee for aligning the math curriculum. So I thought that was quite nice.
Better get a hold of her.
I don't know if I've got a number at home or not.
You do give me a call.
All right.
Anybody else?
Yes, Madam Chair, one of them, we got a question from Mr. Clark. On this personnel action we had for the cafeteria utility person.
Right.
Was that a replacement position or was it a new position? If it was a replacement, did somebody leave?
It's a,
It's a replacement position. We've had a couple of maternity leaves, child care leaves, and plus retirement, so it's a replacement for one of those positions.
So how long has this position been open?
Oh,
It's been vacant.
yeah, maybe a couple of weeks. You know, it takes, the posting is like 15 days
Right.
for it to be posted.
Anything else?
Madam Chair. Superintendent Carr, did you have a chance to check into I'd ask you to check into the concession stand in the back room where the ceiling is open back
I haven't got a
there.
report back on it. But yes, we asked the question, but I haven't heard back on it. I'll get a report back right away, though.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just a reminder, in regards to the benefit that we're having for Ed Horn, the high schools, over at the high school, April 4th, at 6 o'clock, they're having a silent auction, plus they're having comedians come in. There's tickets available at the schools, here at the board office. Also, I was told yesterday that you will be able to get tickets at the door. They prefer if you got them ahead of time, so we know how many people are coming. But it's supposed to be a good time. They say the comedians are really good. And if you go on Ed's website, which is www.edhorn.info, there is supposed to be, and I haven't been on there today to see, but I was told that they have a list of the items that are going to be available for the silent auction. And I guess the list is growing by leaps and bounds, and there's some really good stuff.
There is some really good stuff.
So, I mean, everything from vacations, from what I understand, to,
Week in Florida.
computer equipment type things, and just a lot of good stuff. But the main thing is to come out and support Ed through this illness he has and his family, and to really help promote the situation he's in.
If I can, I talked to Ed earlier today, and unfortunately, he has to go into the hospital for his final chemo that day, or this weekend, so he won't be able to attend. But his spirits are good. He's very positive, and he's very thankful for the support of everyone.
Thanks, Tom. His spirits are really an inspiration to anyone going through the difficult time he's going through. But anyways, just a reminder, April 4th, next week. And if we don't have anything else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have adjourned.
Cheryl?